friends, it's Katie back with another episode of my vlog, and it's time for the Cinema Club's Sunday Roundup. We had an interesting variety of movies this week, starting with 1974's Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter. This is a Hammer Studios film, actually one of the last Hammer horror films that was made before the studio basically went bankrupt and went out of business. This is an interesting one because it is a kind of like a combination of like a swashbuckling adventure movie with a more traditional vampire movie. In this particular version of our vampire hunting story, our heroes, who are Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, and his sidekick, whose name is Hieronymus Grost, who's like a professor, they are hunting down age vampires instead of blood vampires. We have a situation where the young ladies of the town are being attacked, and instead of being drained of their blood, they're being drained of their youthful life force, and they wind up these withered old hags after they've been attacked by this vampire. This is a really fun one. A lot of really great action. Like I said, it's like a 50-50, like between being a swashbuckling adventure and being a straight up horror vampire movie. And it's a pretty fun combo. I am blanking out on the name of the guy who plays Captain Kronos. I feel like he's not quite strong enough to carry the movie, but other than that, it's a great movie. Good acting, really cool costumes, sets. It's a classic Hammer horror movie, but again, with this adventure kind of element. So like a lot of like interesting chases and sword fights and battles and things like that. We had a ton of fun watching this one. Unfortunately, like I said, it's one of the last Hammer horror movies that got made. It was intended to be the first of a series featuring this character, Captain Kronos, but they ran out of money, so they stopped making movies, which sucks, but I guess that's the way the capitalism crumbles sometimes. The next night after that, we watched A Boy and His Dog, the 1975 post-apocalyptic dystopian classic starring a very young Don Johnson. He is the character he's playing is like 18 or 19 in the movie. I think he actually is about that age. And this is a really weird, really great kind of lesser known post-apocalyptic science fiction movie. So the basic premise is it's taking place in the future, 2024. And this is after World War IV, which was the thermonuclear war that destroyed the planet. Our hero, whose name is Vic, is wandering sort of the, post-apocalyptic wasteland with his dog Blood, who is telepathic. So Vic can communicate telepathically with Blood. And basically all Vic is out for is he wants to get laid and he wants to eat. And so the whole first part of the movie is Vic and Blood wandering through the wasteland, encountering various, nomadic tribes of survivors and camps of people. And it's all men. They're looking for women because, again, Vic wants to get laid. But there's no women to be found anywhere because, the post-apocalyptic landscape is a pretty dangerous place for women when you think about it. And this movie really points that up. I mean, they never explicitly say, I want to go rape some women, but that's basically the driving motivation for a lot of the characters, and especially the main character in this movie, which is a little uncomfortable, but I think it's pretty accurate to what that type of post-apocalyptic scenario would be like. So they're wandering around looking for women. The dog, in addition to being telepathic and able to communicate with the human character, is also able to like sense people that he can't see or smell. So he's able to locate a woman for Vic, but he's also able to warn Vic if, a band of marauding guys is coming by, or there's these spooky characters called the Screamers, who you never actually see in the movie, but there's something to be afraid of in this particular landscape. So at any rate, Vic winds up meeting a woman who is from a place called Down Under. and he gets together with her, and then she escapes, but she leaves her card key for Down Under, and so he winds up going to Down Under. Now blood won't come with him underground, but then the second half of the movie, instead of being in this sort of open, sort of hostile desert post-apocalyptic wasteland, takes place in this place called the Down Under, which is an underground society that is like modeled on Topeka, Kansas, probably like 1950. And it's really weird. All of the residents of Topeka are obviously being controlled by a small group of people who are governing them, who are called the council. They all wear whiteface and it looks really spooky. They all have this almost, are they robots? What is going on here? I don't want to say too much vibe to them, but it definitely gets weird once Vic goes underground into the Down Under. And he finds out what's going on with those folks, and then has to make some plans of his own that aren't quite what they expect him to do. Trying not to spoil this movie for you guys because it's a really cool one. And like I said, it's a lesser known post-apocalyptic movie. And so if you're into that type of stuff, I would definitely recommend watching A Boy and His Dog. I'm definitely not going to tell you how it ends, but I love the ending of this movie. Pretty A plus, almost exactly the best ending you could have for this movie. So check that one out if you're into that stuff that I just talked about. And then just to go in a totally other direction from that, the next night we wound up watching Disorderlies from 1987, directed by Michael Schultz. This is the screwball comedy starring the Fat Boys, the rap group, as orderlies, like hospital orderlies. They get hired. The basic plot outline here is there is a guy who's like a gambling addict, and he's in debt to, you know, the mob or whoever, up to his eyeballs, and he's about to be killed. And he has an elderly uncle who's very rich, who's about to die, and he's going to be able to get that inheritance any second. But he really wants to speed up his uncle's death. So he decides to hire the most inept orderlies he can possibly find to hasten his uncle's death. And he goes out and finds the Fat Boys and hires them to be the new orderlies for his uncle. And then, of course, the Fat Boys, with their particular brand of positivity and fun and, screwball comedy, wind up making great friends with this old man, actually, helping him to become healthier and moving him kind of away from death's door, and then approach solving the mystery of who's trying to kill him and what's really going on. So this is a goofy comedy, obviously, starring the Fat Boys, but I have to tell you guys, this movie is so much better than I expected it to be. It was ridiculous. I had seen this movie when I was a kid, and I hadn't seen it since. And after we watched Crush Groove, and the kids, same director, by the way, Michael Schultz on Crush Groove. After we had watched that one with the kids, they immediately were like, who are these guys, the Fat Boys? They're hilarious. I love them. And I was like, oh, well, if you guys like them in Crush Groove, you got to see Disorderlies. And, fully expecting to have to sit through a kind of stupid, whatever movie. You guys, it was great. It was heartwarming. It was really funny. It's got a lot of great slapstick stuff in it. It actually has a pretty solid plot, some great acting. It's a really good movie. It's also a stupid comedy, but it's actually a really quality movie. So I'm definitely recommending Disorderlies if you like screwball comedies. If you like early rap, if you were a fan of the Fat Boys at all, if you remember seeing Disorderlies when you were younger but haven't watched it in several decades like me, go back and give it a try, because this was really totally way better than I expected it to be. So that was an awesome one to watch. Oh man, and then speaking of awesome ones to watch, we are continuing on our sort of trek through Bong Joon-ho's back catalog of movies. And this week we finally got to watch Memories of Murder. This was his second film, I believe, and his first really big, successful film. And it had been on my list to watch for a while, but what with one thing and another, I just hadn't gotten to it until this week. And oh, you guys, this movie is so good. What a director. Do you love Bong Joon-ho's work? Did you love Parasite? Have you seen Mother? Did you love The Host? Did you love Snowpiercer? you will love Memories of Murder. It is just, he's such a great director. He's such a good storyteller. The approaches that he uses, the whole package deal. I mean, the acting, the cinematography, the writing, the editing, his directing, obviously. I mean, it's just all phenomenal in all of his movies. But man, this one was so, so good. So this one's a crime drama. It is based on a true story about Korea's only serial killer, I guess, or first serial killer in history. So, you know, our story opens with a body of a young woman being found in a ditch. She's dead. She's been raped. And the cops come out and have to deal with that and then start connecting it together with all of these other murders. And again, because this is a crime drama, a detective story, I don't want to say too much about how the story unfolds and how they go about trying to solve the crime. But man, this movie, it was so good. It is so good. I watched it in the past, though. If you like police procedurals, crime dramas, murder mysteries, anything related to that genre or those genres at all, you will love this movie. It is so, so good. Again, I'm just going to kind of leave it bare bones on the plot because I really think every movie you should go in as cold as you can and just really not know that much about it, but especially mysteries and police dramas. Like, if I say anything about like anything, it's going to wreck it for you. So Memories of Murder, we absolutely loved it. All four of us. We were just like, oh my God, that movie was incredible. And it's got a great ending. I really enjoyed the ending on this one as well. If you guys are new to my vlog or haven't watched it for a while, I get very critical of endings, and I'm going to criticize the ending of the next movie also. There's a lot of movies that I feel like they end about 5 minutes after they should. There's too much of a tidy wrap up, or like, you know, just have to kind of settle everything down at the end instead of kind of leaving things a little bit more ambiguous or open-ended. That is my preferred type of ending. So, anyhow, without saying what the ending of Memories of Murder is, I was very satisfied by the ending of that movie. So totally recommended to everyone, really. But again, if you really like crime dramas, murder mysteries, based on true story murder mysteries, stuff like that, you're going to love this movie. So check out Memories of Murder. The next night after that, Sean actually was like, hey, I've really been enjoying these Korean movies we've been watching. I want to watch another one, something I know nothing about. So he picked this movie, Save the Green Planet, from 2003, directed by Jang Joon-hwan. This is a really funny science fiction movie. We loved it right up until the ending. So this is one where I loved the movie, but then the ending kind of killed it for me. I'm still going to recommend it because it was a ton of fun, but there is that caveat about the ending there. So this one is, there's the main character. He believes that aliens from Andromeda are coming to Earth to destroy the Earth or to take over the Earth. I can't remember which one, but he's obsessed with this idea that aliens from Andromeda are coming to Earth, and he has identified a local businessman, I think he's like a higher up at a pharmaceutical company, as one of these aliens. And so he kidnaps the businessman and takes him down to basically his torture dungeon, where he keeps him tied up for multiple days, torturing him, cutting off his hair, scraping his skin off, and like rubbing like menthol into his into his feet. It's really gross because that's supposed to like diminish his alien powers. Meanwhile, the pharmaceutical CEO is one of these characters who's like, I'm a tough guy. I can take anything. I'm not going to back down. So he's just like, go ahead and torture me. I'm never going to give up. I eat guys like you for breakfast. So there's this great conflict between this like crazy guy who's like, whoa, aliens, and this kidnapped CEO character that just kind of goes on. And it's very funny. There's also quite a few very excruciating body horror moments in this. So it's definitely not just like light comedy sci-fi. There is some I don't want to say what happens, but there's some body stuff that they show on camera that just made me like, "Ooh, no, thank you. I don't even want to look at that." It's not too much of the movie though, but like if you're the type of person who's really like squicked out by that stuff, maybe skip this movie. But we had a ton of fun watching it. Like I said, it's very funny. It's action packed. It's got a lot of great fight scenes in it that are really just hilariously done. And it's a pretty great story overall. Again, until we get to the ending of the movie. That's the part where it kind of, I would have preferred a much more ambiguous ending to the ending they actually gave us. So I don't want to say more than that because you might be interested in checking out this movie. I did read in my research that a remake is planned, a English language remake of this movie. So maybe that'll happen. Maybe it'll be good. I don't know. I did hear that Ari Aster is involved, so that makes me a little hopeful. But you guys know I don't like remakes that much. And I feel like, we have subtitles. We have this whole wide world of cinema. There's no need to be remaking things from other countries into English just so that an American audience can like feel comfy watching it. It's not a big deal to read subtitles. It's not a big deal to dip your toe into another culture and see what they're all about. I encourage you guys, watch foreign films. All right, speaking of foreign films, we ended the week with one of my favorite foreign films, one of my favorite pieces of animation of all time, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, of course, from 1984, written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki. This is my favorite Miyazaki movie out of all of them. It is, and it's my favorite by far. It's like, I love almost the entire Ghibli catalog. I love basically everything Miyazaki has ever done. I hold some of these films in such high esteem in my heart, but then it's like all of them are like here, and then Nausicaa is way up here. It's so good. It's an amazing manga. If you've read the manga, it's a little bit different from the movie, but the interpretation into an animated movie is amazing. It is beautiful. It has great music. It has great voice acting. Please watch it in Japanese. If you can, read those subtitles. Go for the original. Don't go for it's not a remake, it's a redub, but let's be purists about this one. Watch it in Japanese. Amazing animation, amazing voice acting, amazing music, and of course, an amazing story. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you've never heard of Nausicaa, it is a story that takes place in the future. It's another post-apocalyptic movie. There's huge toxic forests engulfing the land, and the toxic forests are full of giant insects that whenever they encounter people, the insects get mad and they start attacking. And the insects are nearly indestructible, and the people are basically scraping out a living on the edge of these toxic forests, worried about the toxic forests encroaching into their civilization, worried about the insects attacking at all times. And on top of all that, they've got, political conflict between the different kingdoms and areas within the story. So you have Nausicaa, who is the princess. She's the daughter of the king of this valley, the Valley of the Wind. And Nausicaa is this wonderful character because she's gentle and she's just full of love. She basically just represents love as a character. And her entire deal is she approaches the toxic forest from a curious scientific viewpoint, but also with love for all of the creatures that exist within that forest. She doesn't view it as her enemy. She doesn't view it as something to be feared. She is adventurous. She has a little really cool flying machine. It's like a little glider that she can fly around on, just like a one-person vehicle that, of course, Miyazaki is obsessed with flying devices. And so this one in Nausicaa is really cool. And she flies all around over her valley and out over the toxic forest and into the toxic forest. She has to wear a special mask so that she doesn't breathe the toxic spores and the bad air in the forest, which now that I live in mask land, it feels a little different to watch a movie where somebody's got to wear a mask. But she encounters these dangerous insects of the forest, and instead of attacking them or fearing them or running from them, she approaches them with gentleness and love. She has a little charm that she carries in her bag, and she uses it to kind of hypnotize the insects and direct them away from the people so that people don't get hurt by them, but then she doesn't have to hurt the insects, right? So it's got a really strong anti-aggression, anti-war, pro-environmental focus for the film. And the way the story is told is really wonderful. There's other characters. I'm going kind of fast over this one. I want to sell you guys on watching this movie, but again, I don't want to tell you too much about the movie because I want you to discover the magic of it for yourself. So there's a prophecy. There's some really cool aerial battles between different nations. There's battles between people and insects, people and jungle. There's a lot going on in this film, but it is, man, like I said, it is one of my favorites of all time. It is an incredible, incredible film. I learned in my research for this vlog that they accomplished this film in 9 months and with a budget of roughly translated to $1 million, which is unbelievable to me. If you've seen this movie, you know its quality is much higher than that. I was shocked when I read how fast they made this and how cheaply they managed to make this beautiful, beautiful animated movie. So I'm going to leave it there and stop gushing about Nausicaa. But really, really honestly, you guys, if you like Studio Ghibli films, if you've seen Spirited Away, if you've seen My Neighbor Totoro, if you've seen Howl's Moving Castle and you've loved them, but you've never watched Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, please do yourself a favor and see Nausicaa. It is a mind blower. It's just one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. 10 out of 10, totally required viewing. It's a perfect piece. That's it. I can't say anything else, so I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna invite you guys, as usual, to drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you've been watching, or if you have a recommendation for me, I would love to hear it. I'll be back in a couple more days with another episode of my vlog. Until then, everybody, take care out there, stay safe, and thanks so much for watching.